Hi everybody, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. Today I'm going to be doing some repeat stamping and I'm going to be working with the Misty stamping tool, which is a pretty cool stamp positioner, as well as some Winnie and Walter stamps. The Misty stamping tool actually comes in three different sizes, from the mini to the original and then the 12 by 12 format. I actually own two of them, the mini and the original, but today I'm going to be playing with the original size Misty. And as you can see on the right hand side, this stamp set by Winnie and Walter has some really fun, bold sentiments that are going to work well for the technique I wanted to demonstrate today. Now, my original Misty is one of the first generation versions of the tool, so it has the grid on the lid screen printed, but the current version of the Misty has it laser etched, so you will have that grid on there permanently and never have to worry about the screen printing wearing away. And I wanted to make note of the ruling guides that are along the left and right hand side, as well as along the bottom edge of the tool. This will help give you precision placement when you're lining things up. The Misty also comes with a small pad of grid paper and you can flip it over. I just like to work one sheet at a time with the grid pad. And I have a sheet that sometimes I place it blank inside and sometimes I flip it over and work the grid. You can do either way. And there's also a piece of black foam that sits down into the base, and that is for when you're stamping with clear stamps. And if you work with rubber cling mount stamps, you just remove that black foam piece so you have a deep enough recess in the base of the tool. Now I've taken the word shine and lined that up on my Misty, and I've determined already where I need to start stamping on my quarter sheet of Neenah Solar White. And I'm using the magnets to hold it down in place. The base is magnetized, so those work well. Some people like to use washi tape. So you use whatever method works well for you. And I wanted to space my impressions half an inch apart. So I'm moving my quarter sheet of Neenah Solar White in half-inch increments using the ruling guide there along the bottom. Actually, I've rotated my Misty tool so that the ruling guide is actually towards my left and the lid is swinging open to my right. So I can quickly re-ink, move the paper, and restamp and get a fast succession of impressions of this same word all the way down the front, and they're going to be perfectly spaced apart. So you could do this with other tools, but the Misty is actually the fastest and easiest way to get a task like this accomplished. And if you're making lots of cards using this technique, I really recommend that you use a tool like the Misty to get that done. It just makes your life so much easier. So I'm just going to continue doing the same thing. I'm going to repeat all the way down until I bleed right off the edge of that quarter sheet of cardstock. So the next thing I wanted to do was to create an image with a drop shadow, and I wanted to highlight one of the words, shine, on this panel. So I'm realigning my quarter sheet of cardstock to just be slightly offset with one of those words, and I'm going to ink up the stamp again now with aquamarine ink, which is a deeper, more intense shade of this color. And then I'm going to stamp right over the top of one of those words, shine words, and it is slightly offset, so I have a drop shadow from the originally stamped image. And then I wanted to intensify that aquamarine ink, so I'm just going to do a second impression just to add an extra layer of ink and really deepen that shade of aquamarine. And this is a great way to get a drop shadow effect and to re-ink an image. If you didn't get a good impression the first time, you can re-ink and stamp right over the top. Nobody will ever know you didn't get it right the first time. So now I've taken a couple of other smaller words from the set, time 2, and I'm just aligning those on the grid there to make sure they're going to be impressed where I want them. And I'm going to ink up with StazOn Jet Black for some contrast. Go ahead and get those stamped into place, and then I'm ready to move on with the rest of the project. And as you can see, I've got everything perfectly aligned there, and that's going to make it easy for the next step. Now, I decided I wanted to pop up that portion there, and I'm going to cut this apart by using the Fiskars Deluxe aluminum cut rail. And I just needed to slice a little bit through, and just to kind of give that optical illusion, I'm actually going to slice through the top part of that, the ascending part of that letter H, so that I get that portion of ink showing on that separate panel. So it's now 3 pieces. And then I'm going to take a base card made also from Neenah Solar White and start gluing these pieces on. I'm just testing everything to make sure it's going to all be aligned the way I want it. And if I need to trim anything off, I can before I start gluing it down. So I'm going to use tape runner to go along the back of that top portion of the panel and get that glued into place Once that is mounted, I can go ahead and add more tape runner to the bottom portion. I like to work in that direction. I mean, you don't have to, but I just find I end up getting everything lined up much better if I do it that way. So those are mounted flush to the card front, and then I'm going to pop up that middle section there that has the word shine, and I think that adds to the overall emphasis of that particular focal point. And it's kind of cool, an optical illusion that people will look at and go, you know, like, how did you do that? How did you stamp like that on both those levels in exactly that spot? So it's kind of a, you know, like a Jedi mind trick. So now I have that in place with the foam tape, and I wanted to add a few more sprinkles of sequins. So I grabbed this other fun set by Winnie and Walter that has all kinds of different spangles and flat sequins and square sequins, and some are solid, some are open. And I'm going to use Delicata Golden Glitz and a small acrylic block to just randomly sprinkle some of these solid sequins in place. And once I'm done with that, what's nice is that it has a variety of sizes. You can really create some fun filler effects with those images. Great accents. Now, at this point, I decided I want a little bit more shimmer. So I'm going to take some 1/2-inch double-sided sticky tape and lay that right across the middle of that popped up section, and go ahead and trim off the ends. And then I'm going to peel away the liner. I've got a little bowl there with a coffee filter to catch the excess, and I'm going to sprinkle some iridescent clear glitter over the top, and that's just going to add an extra bit of emphasis there to that portion of the card and give that focal image some extra glam and shimmer. So once that is done, I got to this point and I was like, you know, I just need one more thing. I know usually I sit on my hands at this point, but I thought, you know what, I think I can dismantle this a little bit without tearing it apart. It's hard because that foam tape is really sticky, but if you go slow and take your time, you can literally tear away that top portion just enough to get under there. I'm going to add a little bit more tape runner on there. And then I'm going to take some metallic thread while I have that piece lifted there and run that little messy nest of gold thread right in between. I'm going to make a messy nest sandwich and go ahead and press down that top layer back into place, because with that tape runner that I added, that's going to give me the adhesion I need to anchor that all down. And then I'll just trim away the excess and the card is finished. I thought that turned out so cool. I love the extra bling that gold metallic thread adds. And I love the effect that you get with that drop shadow by using the Misty tool to offset your stamping. So this card was really fun and quick and easy to do, although it would have taken quite a bit more time if I had tried to eyeball it or use a different type of tool. We have more still shots available at the Classroom blog, and all the supplies are available at ellenhutson.com. Thanks for watching.